Jason King Jones from the Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. I want to welcome you back to the Reduced Shakespeare Company podcast. I know you've not been a guest, but you were such an annoying laughter in the background of a bar where I record. And see, there it is. There's that laugh again. It's glorious.
Well, yeah, it comes with the territory. I think there's a lot of I find so much joy in the work we get to do that I feel welcome to laugh a lot, and so I think that's just part of who I am. So
If you don't have ready access to that laughter and to joy generally, what the hell are we doing here?
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, it's infectious, and I admire it. I'm thrilled to talk to you because you and I have had this conversation before. We both run theater companies with Shakespeare in our names,
Yes.
and yet we don't program exclusively Shakespeare or Shakespeare-related shows. How do you thread that needle as artistic director of PSF?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was just having a conversation with, I think, some of our board about this. As far as I'm concerned, Shakespeare was a prolific playwright. I think he invented so many themes and characters. And of course, he stole from so many of his from source material from the Greeks and the Romans and other people writing other plays. I mean, he was a great thief, just like any other artist is. But he put so much together in 37, 38, whatever plays that. I think he inspired so many people to write. If he were alive today, I think he would be writing musicals. He'd be writing sitcoms. He'd be doing short form video. He would he would have grown with the medium. So I think when we're doing a Shakespeare festival and we're producing up to 9 shows over 10 weeks in the summertime, of course, we're not only doing Shakespeare, but I think the entire canon of theater that's been written after him has been inspired by the work that he's done. You can see it show up in storylines, in characters, in archetypes. They're all there. So I think that Shakespeare in so many ways is like the great grandfather of so much of the plays and musicals, children's theater that we do now.
Yeah, we are all in his debt, to a certain degree, even when we're veering away from him. It's like, okay, but he's still the lodestar against which we think about the work that we do. I also love the fact that your company is called Festival. The theater that professional theater I cut my teeth on was also called the American Stage Festival. And there is something joyous and welcoming about that, and not serious like the name company. Is that something that you have embraced? Is that something that you changed? Or is that just that's how the company was founded and that's the spirit within which you continue to program and work?
There's an interesting tension there, Austin, because we are in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, which is Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. We're an hour and a half west of New York City off of 78, free parking. And we're, an hour and 10 minutes north of Philadelphia. And so we're kind of in this area where there's a lot of people who can come to us. And what happens in the summertime particularly, but also in the spring and in the fall, there are a lot of other festivals that happen around here, and they're one-offs or they're weekends. There's this fantastic organization called Arts Quest that puts on this thing called Music Fest, where there's like 1.5 million people show up to hear music all over the city of Bethlehem. And then there's also Bacon Fest. There's a weekend of, right?
Yeah.
So festival has an identity in this area where a lot of people think of it as like we're here for a theme for a specific thing, and it's going to last a weekend or two, and then we're out. So the fact that we produce for 10 weeks up to 9 shows, and that not everything happens all the time. If you miss. If you wait too late, you're going to miss a couple of the shows, or we're not going to be doing Coriolanus till the end of the season, so it's not going to be there at the beginning. Because it's that as well, there's a little bit of a tension, so we've started identifying the work we do over the summer as our summer theater series, just to help our audience understand that there's a sequence of plays. But we are, on the whole, we identify ourselves as a festival because I think there is this sense of an invitation to come be a part of a big party and a celebration of the work. That shows up in our education work that lasts throughout the year, in other kinds of collaborations with other organizations. But I think that, to me, I love to host a good party, and the festival feels like a great way to kind of welcome people in, to build great community, and to celebrate fantastic art.
I'm making a mental note to use that, invite people to a great party, because in a few minutes I'm going to ask you about the party you're throwing in January. But I want to talk about, I love what you said about the tension between Shakespeare, which is serious, as we all know, and festival, which is party. But you said another thing. We do up to 9 shows in 10 weeks. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is this 1 week's summer stock?
It's not 1 week summer stock. Our shows run 2 to 3 weeks. We also have a rep. This summer we're doing Romeo and Juliet and Ken Ludwig's Moriarty and rotating repertory. So that starts rehearsals in June. It opens in July and runs for 4 weeks. So we'll open R&J, and then that company, 5 of those actors and a few of the people as musicians, will step in and do Moriarty, and that'll open a week later. And then those 2 shows will run in rotating repertory on our main stage. Now, before that, our stage will have presented $1 Million Quartet with a completely other company doing, Elvis and Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and doing that show kind of as a single piece, directed by Orlando Shakespeare Festival artistic director Jim Helsinger, who's been a staple of our company for a long time. So that's our main stage, the 3 shows that are on our main stage. There's also, in the second half of the summer, on that main stage, a children's show that we do perennially called Shakespeare for Kids, which is a series of scripts that focus on different Shakespeare plays. And so we have one that focuses on Romeo and Juliet. It's 4 actors, because there's a character called Showbot that shows up in that show. But it's a way to introduce Shakespeare and the themes of Shakespeare to youngsters. And we also take that show into libraries now around the community as well. So that's 4 of the shows. Then in our smaller space, our Schubert Theater, which is a black box that seats 187, we're starting the season with piano lesson, August Wilson's piano lesson, which will actually be rehearsing in Philly for 2 weeks before we even have access to the space. Then as soon as the dorms and the theater spaces at DeSales University are open for us, we'll move in and we'll start with piano lesson. Following that, we're doing similarly inspired by this, in the spirit of the Reduced Shakespeare Company, we're doing the complete works of Jane Austen abridged, which is written by some Philadelphia-based writers, including one of our core company members here, Jessica Bedford. She's directing the piece, and it's 3 actors, all of Jane Austen's work. And then following that, we're doing an original practice as Coriolanus. In the morning, in the space, we'll be doing a children's show, which I've written, which is a sequel to The Princess and the Frog Prince, called Sheila the Magical. Then that's 4 shows in the Schubert. Then the last show is the 9th show, which is a reduced, like an 80-minute version of As You Like It, that will be touring around the community for free to festivals, to arts, like different free stages, community areas all over the Lehigh Valley. So that's free performances that'll be happening all over the valley.
Wow. Short, small cast Shakespeare. Where do people get these ideas? Abridging great canons of literature like Jane Austen. How do people come up with these things?
Who thought of that?
I'm so glad you mentioned the person who wrote the complete works of Jane Austen, because I'm tired of being asked, did I write it? And I'm tired of people sending it to me. Did you know about this? No, I didn't know about it. It's not. Titles are not copyrightable, and I didn't write the complete works anyway, so neener. It sounds exhausting and terrific, because it feels like you have a little something for everybody going on there.
That's the idea. The idea is, I believe that theater is essential for the health of our community. And I think that we need to be able to create these spaces for people to gather, to experience really great stories, and quality is really important for us. So really great quality stories. And we are able to do it when we have the resources, and the resources that we have available is the summer months. And so we pack it in, we slam as much opportunity for great performances as we can, and plus our community tour. We also have an educational tour that goes out in the fall called the Willpower Education Tour. It's been running for 25 years, and we've served 250,000 students all over Pennsylvania and Delaware, and even into New Jersey and down into DC. And that's generally an 80-minute Shakespeare play that we'll do along with classes and workshops into different classrooms. We have other education programs that kind of carry throughout the year, and we're hoping to move into some other co-productions as well, so that Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival's brand and identity can kind of live beyond the summer. But yes, in the summer we have this, and so we fill the container as much as possible. And
all hands on deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's talk about this party that you're throwing in January. You and I, both PSF and the RSC, are members of the Shakespeare Theatre Association, which meets every January in different parts of the world. Last year it was up in Newfoundland, and it is a huge undertaking. How do you undertake something that, as huge as throwing this party while you are putting together your summer season and your year-round programming? Because everyone I go to makes my mind boggles at the amount of organization, and I'm not good with the admin. So how are you managing?
Your company, your two people in your company, you mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
No, well, I mean, I will say that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. There have been people who have organized these Shakespeare Theatre Association conferences very well in the past and have shared that information. So there's been, being a part of the executive committee for the last year or so, watching how the festival's been the conference has been put together for previous years has been a huge help in knowing how we're going to plan it moving forward. Our managing director here, Casey Gallagher, was around in 19? I can't remember the last time. PSF has hosted the conference in the past, and Casey was around back then, whenever that was. I can't recall the date. So there's a little bit of institutional memory on how it worked the last time that we can kind of pull from, and we have a really great, incredible, dedicated staff and fantastic volunteers. So we've got a great community of support here to say, okay, so we have an understanding of how to program it. We've been given a great playbook on how to plan it, and we have a really great staff here that are eager to host this party and to do the work that's going to be required in order to make it the kind of thing that everybody who does Shakespeare in America and internationally are going to want to come to and be a part of.
Well, let me ask you this about the philosophy of hosting a party, because I've said this privately to people in the past, but never directly to the person who's responsible for hosting the next one, which is, I find, and maybe I'm an outlier, I find these things to be incredibly overscheduled, and that the most valuable part of these conferences are the times between the panels and times between the places where you need to be, where you're shooting the breeze with whoever about what you just saw or what you just heard or how can you build in more of that unscheduled time? Will you commit to me now, sir? Putting in more unscheduled time. Yes,
more unscheduled time.
More unscheduled time, or do you even agree with that? My philosophy?
Well, I think that there's certainly value, because only once a year are we able to gather, and we have so much to share. Whether it's because these become friendships. I don't know how you feel about it, but I often find it a challenge to build friendships with people who I know I'm going to be hiring or not hiring. If I have casting authority over people, it's hard to really be truly legitimately ever let my guard down, because there's always potentially some kind of transaction that could happen there. So what I have found is these colleagues from across the country, I find that I've been able to build strong friendships with them, and I want to see them again, and I want to understand what they're working with and what challenges they're having, connect with them about their personal life, and also support them as they're struggling and celebrate their victories. So so I understand the desire for some unscheduled time around that. And people are paying good money to be here and hopefully learn something. And so you've got to find that balance. So what I will do is I will take your positive and helpful critique, and I will bring it to the committee, and I will say, Austin prefers that we have some more unstructured time. How can we make that possible?
Most responsibly, tell that guy to fuck off. Well, and this is another fun part that I love about the STA conference is that people are so, well, you can't be coming to this thing and hustling for jobs and hustling for work. We're all hustling for jobs. We're all hustling for work. Let's pretend that that's not going on. I want all these theaters to program my plays and or hire me as a director. but you got to be cool about it. I mean, too, we're also there to do the work and not be a jerk.
I also think that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn from people who are doing who are doing like the same plays in radically different ways, or have we tried, I hear what you're trying to say. We tried that with our community and it bombed. Or, by the way, there's this new play. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's great. And who knew that the prequel to Hamlet this comedy would actually sell so well? Whatever that is,
for instance,
sometimes that's what these conferences can provide for us. There's this great thing called Question Salad that happens on the Thursday night where everybody just kind of sits around after they spend some time, hanging out at the bar. And then it's hey, I got a question about our CRM, or I've got a question about which plays that you thought were going to be successful were stinkers, or whatever those random questions are. There's a place for that to happen. So there's as much value in that as everything else.
And I'll give you my next free bit of unsolicited critique and wisdom. There is that I would love Question Salad to be at 8:00 one night instead of one of the performances you're going to try to shuttle us off to, because it always happens way too late in the night.
We are not going to do a performance night and Question Salad on the same night.
Yes.
Yes. So it doesn't have to wait till 10:00. It will be after dinner. We'll all be able to go to dinner, and then we'll do Question Salad. So yes. Perfect.
No, the opportunity to converse with folks doing this kind of work, hearing the most valuable thing for me is hearing how the work lands on audiences, because that's what it's all about, right? Is we can be as artistic as we want to be, but if it's not landing with an audience, that's how you really judge these things. And I find that part fascinating, because different audiences also at different theaters, different parts of the country want different things.
Yeah, they're not a monolith. Every community has its own identity, and that's something that just hearing people's challenges and struggles, and also then learning that every community is a little bit different too.
Yeah. Jason, thank you for hosting me on your podcast, because that was a fun party, although we could have done it with cocktails. And thank you for joining me on my podcast. Dee and I are really looking forward to coming to visit you guys in January.
We're excited to have you.
This podcast is a production of the Reduced Shakespeare Company, reducing expectations since 1981. Go to reducedshakespeare.com for performance dates, actor bios, email newsletters, and so much less.